Hi everyone, I'm Stu.
I'm Sarah, and welcome back to the 300 Bird Challenge.
We were hoping to see 300 different bird species before the end of the year. Not sure if it's going to happen, but we're on our way back from Sax-Zim Bog back to our home in Toronto, Ontario. This video is going to be about that journey, and we're hoping to pick up some birds on the way back. Okay, welcome back. We've started our journey back home from Sax-Zim Bog. Sarah, how far have we come?
Right now we are in Oxbow Park in Byron, Minnesota.
We have had a few stops over the last few days, so let's take a look at a map, see what we've done so far, and talk about some of the stops we've already done where we didn't see anything but tried. The weather has been pretty harsh, so we think a lot of birds may have moved on as we tried to see them. We left Sax-Zim Bog in northern Minnesota a couple of days earlier and decided to try our luck in the small town of Aitkin. I'd become obsessed with trying to find sharp-tailed grouse, and some had been seen in a field the previous morning, so we drove along this unpaved road, and we checked the same field that they'd been sighted in yesterday. They tend to be more visible in a couple of months' time from now when courtship begins, and so it wasn't really a surprise when we didn't see any. We moved further south to the general area of Benton County, chasing a Townsend solitaire, but this was another miss, although we did see this northern shrike on a side road. And a pileated woodpecker flyby with that distinctive red crest and those white wing patches. As we continued to push southwards, the weather turned to rain and our sightings were really starting to dry up. We spent a couple of days in Minneapolis doing a bit of the tourist thing, but also just taking the opportunity to finally catch our breath a little bit. But we did chase a snow goose and a Franklin's gull in a couple of different locations around St. Paul, but without success. Also, an eared grebe had been sighted here at Phelan Park, also in St. Paul, but the ice had been setting in over the past couple of days, and it kind of looks like all of these birds have flown south. Well, we'd better follow them. Let's go south as far as where we last left off. Okay, welcome back. So, as Sarah mentioned, we're at Oxbow Park. There have been reports of a Harris sparrow. We're taking a look around, see if we can find that. That would be our lifer, and obviously a new bird for the challenge too. We weren't entirely sure where to start, because there's a park here and a zoo. Not quite a turkey vulture. But then we found these feeders. The person that reported the Harris sparrow, on their checklist they said that they were stationary. So we're just wondering if it was in the vicinity of these bird feeders, but currently all the feeders are empty. We're hearing distant black-capped chickadees. Sarah saw a pileated woodpecker fly past. I hear a Dryobates woodpecker, hairy, downy, and distant nuthatch. That's about the extent of it. We watched the feeders and walked around the park area. There's that pileated woodpecker that Sarah saw earlier. Alright, we've returned to the car. Hopefully that's not going to be the catchphrase for this video, but the Harris sparrow was a bust. We found a couple of spots where there were bird feeders and we suspect that's probably where it was sighted. We did see a couple of cool captive birds, so I'll quickly show you those. We saw a screech owl, which we initially thought was stuffed, but then it moved its head, so that was definitely real. And then next to that we also saw this American kestrel. We're going to move on now to another lead, Wilson snipe. Last gasp attempt to try and get that bird perhaps. Stay tuned, we're going to make the drive to that now. We drove along some random unpaved roads in Byron, Minnesota, but we needn't have bothered. There was this Northern Harrier wishing for warmer days while perched on a drain cover. But otherwise, we had the same issue as before with the water being frozen solid. So let's maybe try something different. Okay, next lead, greater white-fronted goose. We're near Rochester at Cascade Lake. We do see a couple of groups of geese mostly. We think they're all Canada geese. We'll take a quick look. Indeed, only Canada geese. Okay guys, it's back to the car again for another big L. There were a few Canada geese out there on the water, including a few deceased ones, which I didn't show on camera, maybe 4 or 5. Probably died from exposure. The temperature, as I'm sure I've probably mentioned, dropped a huge amount over the kind of 24 to 48 hours earlier in the week. We're going to take a quick break here, I think, time to get some coffee and kind of reassess where we can maybe find some target birds, because this was one of the last leads that we had for the day. Going to see if we can find something for the afternoon. Back in a bit. Welcome back on the road again through a pretty area along the I-90, crossing Mississippi River between Minnesota and Wisconsin near La Crosse. We coffeed up and we gassed up. But then the skies opened up and it rained relentlessly through Wisconsin into Illinois, and it just didn't stop until dark, and it was time for our hotel just outside Chicago in Hammond, Indiana. Stay tuned, we'll return with renewed vigour after some sleep. Okay guys, yesterday didn't go very well. We're hoping for better luck today. We find ourselves a little way out of Chicago and we plan to head to Windsor, Ontario, Canada by the end of today. Now, we're behind some random Walmart. Sarah, where are we?
We're just outside of Markham, Illinois.
There's a huge flock of Canada geese. We are led to believe that there is a snow goose amongst them, and that is a bird that we need for the year. We immediately started scanning, playing a cruel goose version of Where's Waldo. I actually pan past the snow goose in this shot if you feel like playing along. Hint, it's a blue morph snow goose. There's like 300 Canada geese out here. We're trying to pick through them. The snow goose, we are led to believe, is a blue morph, so it has darker plumage, which means it's much better camouflage amongst these Canada geese than it would be if it was a white morph snow goose. There is a white goose out on the water. We've had a look out. Pretty sure it's a Ross's goose. That's kind of interesting, but not a bird we need. We got one at the beginning of the year. I think Ross's geese are really cool birds, and I'd normally be quite excited to see one, but all I care about right now is getting that snow goose. I began scanning some more when Sarah yelled that she'd found it.
Got it.
Well done picking that out. Snow goose, new bird. Oh man, thank goodness for that. Okay, awesome, snow goose. Sarah, with her keen eye, was able to pick it out with her binoculars. New bird for the year. Phew, that's mainly a feeling of huge relief to have finally gotten a new bird this far into a video. No time to stick around though, we need to try and find some more birds. What do you think? Maybe snowy owl, we'll try for that. Anything else that kind of crops up on our radar as we head generally kind of east back towards Canada again. Just up the road were a couple of red-tailed hawk perched on streetlights, and you know, as common as these birds are, I couldn't resist quickly getting some shots of what is still, I think, a cool, majestic-looking raptor that's well adapted to urban living, and a diet of equally urban wildlife. Speaking of urban, we're on the road again, navigating our way through the Rust Belt cities and towns. Stopping off next in Gary, Indiana. We did hang around for a bit, but nothing at all on the water, and, you know, annoyingly, I think I heard an American pipit fly over us at one point, but I can't be sure, and, you know, of course, I didn't get it on camera. With changeable weather, we continued to cross the Rust Belt. Factories, railways, pylons all around, until our next stop. Reports here of a red-throated loon. Once again, though, it was all a bit quiet. Oh, come on, Stu and Sarah, find us a new bird. Patience, patience. Okay, Sarah, where are we?
Michigan City Harbor.
We're moving as we film because we were about to give up on this spot. We walked all the way out to the lighthouse and didn't see anything particularly interesting, some scorp, mallards, but we've just seen that there's a loon out on the water. We don't know what kind. It's very distant, so we're trying to get closer to the water down on the beach. Stay tuned. We beat it down the shore and looked out over Lake Michigan. I definitely saw a loon, and yet look, what's with all these red-breasted mergansers in our life? Welcome back into Michigan now. A stop at New Buffalo Beach and Harbour. A good stop if you like coots today, but less so on this occasion if you like loons. So let's try somewhere familiar. Alright guys, in desperation we've come back to a place we've already been in a previous video when we were on our way to Sax-Zim Bog. Now we're on our way back, of course. Where are we, Sarah?
We are at Tiscornia Park.
And what's been reported here?
Red-throated loon and snowy owl a little while ago, but red-throated loon today.
Haven't had any success so far with red-throated loon. Not just today, all year. Let's see if we can find it this time. Some house finches munching on berries in the parking lot. But we want to get to the good stuff near the lighthouse. We hung out for a while, seeing not much interesting and also chatting to some friendly locals, but then I saw a loon. My autofocus can really struggle sometimes against a fairly plain background with a distant bird. Come on, focus! It's a loon. Thin bill? Check. Bill held upwards? Check. Very light face? Check. It's only a flippin' red-throated loon. New bird. Kind of a lifer. I'll explain. Okay guys, we've come into the warmth of the car. Pretty cold out there, a little bit exposed, but we got the red-throated loon. Not 100% sure at first, it's pretty far away, not the best footage either, but we're pretty sure it's red-throated loon, and then another bird had told her, yeah, definitely. So, red-throated loon, we're going to call it a lifer. We've maybe seen it at distance earlier in this video and on other occasions, but it's the first time we got it on camera, and the first time we know for sure. So yeah, new bird for the year, new lifer, red-throated loon, yay.
Yay.
It was mid-afternoon when we got back onto the I-94, and at this time of the year it doesn't take long for the sun to start setting. No time for any more stops. Thanks for having us again, USA. Everyone was really friendly to us, but it's time to return to Canada via the Ambassador Bridge. Good night for now. Okay guys, another evening with a fairly abrupt end. We ran out of light and all that kind of thing. This morning we need to get back to Toronto with a fair amount of time to kind of just tie everything up before we go back to work and that kind of thing. But if we see any alerts for snowy owl, because we're kind of passing through a lot of agriculture and they kind of hang out in the fields, we will make the diversion and try and see it. So stay tuned, this is going to be kind of the last stint of the video. We just didn't have time to make massive diversions today, but somewhere in the Chatham-Kent area, 3 snowy owls had been seen the previous day, and it would only be a 40-minute diversion, so we couldn't pass up such a strong lead. We searched numerous fields for white blobs, but, you know, I'm not going to make you wait for 40 minutes. Here she is. Okay guys, snowy owl. We were just kind of driving along between some fields. There was a barn. I saw a white lump on top, pointed it out to Sarah, who has much better eyesight than me. Confirmed snowy owl. Finally, that one has been a massive nemesis all year. Can't tell you how much time we've spent just driving through fields looking for snowy owl. Finally saw a nice black and white dappled female on top of a barn. New bird for the year, another one closer to 300, even though at this point we know we're not going to make it. It's good to get that little bit of a step closer. As I've mentioned in previous videos, last winter was not a great year for snowy owls in terms of them arriving into southern Ontario, but this winter is looking better so far, and we were confident we would get one eventually, and here it is, another new bird. With limited time, not least to return our rental car soon, we had to leave. Back on the 401 highway, we did have one more lead. Just before London, but still 3 hours away from home, we decided to pursue American pipits again, near a landfill. But unfortunately, just a field filled with herring and ring-billed gulls. Apologies that this video is much more of a rush than the last couple, but we were under a lot of time pressure to film this one. We have one more video coming for you as soon as I can get it all edited together, and as we'll reveal in that next video, some of our plans have actually changed and we do have a bit more bonus birding time before the end of the year. We have 5 more days where we can go birding, and we only need 6 more species. It's a tough ask in December, but we'll give it a try. Stay tuned, we'll be back soon. Oh well, all good things have to come to an end, and that includes our trip. We're back in Toronto, and thus concludes this 3-part series of us travelling to Sax-Zim Bog and back. I hope you enjoyed it. Sarah, what do you think your highlight was? No, I don't need to ask, it's the great grey owl. If there was a second species, which one would you choose?
Probably the saw-whet owl, because I think I'd pretty much resigned myself to the fact that we would have passed hundreds in our life and never found one, especially on our own. So I think that was a very satisfying find.
That was in part 1. If you didn't see that, go back and watch it. I think for me, maybe snowy owl, just because we've been trying so long to try and find that species, and it's the last one that we've just got in this part of the video, so that one was quite rewarding. Well, we didn't get everything that we came for, especially the species more boreal. I'm glad it's a challenge and not a bet, but stay tuned to the channel, we'll see how many more we can get. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, please comment, and most of all, if you're not subscribed, they should probably subscribe, right, Sarah?
Yep, subscribe and also hit the bell for notifications.
Thanks for watching, guys. Happy birding, and I think we'll see you for maybe one more video. Bye.
Bye.